Hey guys, Danny G here at Regenimx.com video. So we're going to go over a very important topic today. I'm always getting asked questions about human growth hormone and its relationship to insulin. Okay, how insulin comes into play regarding, synthetically optimizing or HGH replacement therapy dosages of human growth hormone. So we're very privileged right now. We have my friend Coach Trevor with me, and with us. And he's an expert on all of these things. Okay, Coach Trevor has helped thousands of athletes and people around the world with their physiques. He's competed at a very high level with bodybuilding. He knows how growth hormone and insulin work together. Okay, so I'm going to ask him a few questions, and we're going to get to the bottom of it. So, Coach Trev, what dosages of human growth hormone start to, change your insulin response? Like, where does that start to happen?
I would say if you're talking pharmaceutical growth hormone, that's a big difference. You can't go between the two, generic and pharmaceutical, because it varies so differently with its strengths and how it's stored and whatnot. But anywhere after 3 units, so getting around 4 and now around 4 and up, it depends on how long you're on it for as well. When we talk hormone replacement therapy with growth hormone, we're talking 2 to 3 units a day. And that is basically to replace your endogenous level of growth hormone. So naturally, you have roughly this much throughout a daytime when they're saying we're going to replace it. And that is basically where your body wants to be in homeostasis. So at that level, 2-3 units a day, you can be pretty much indefinitely with no problems in terms of insulin resistance. As you get over that, it's only going to be, it's going to say 4 units, it's going to take a few years. Now everyone's different, but you're increasing it by maybe a quarter. So in a lifetime, you've got to think of a lifetime as somebody's producing this much endogenously, and you increase it by a quarter. How much is that really going to affect you? And then take into consideration diet and exercise as well. If the person's exercising, which I'm assuming they are, and have at least somewhat of a decent diet, though even in a lifetime, they probably wouldn't have to worry. It's usually going to get around 5 to 6 units when someone really might have to start thinking about one day adding some type of insulin every now and then.
So here's maybe a tough one. What is the root cause of the insulin resistance from growth hormone? Like, what are the mechanisms that, what's the big deal? You use the growth hormone, and then can you explain that, the chemical mechanisms?
So they're counterbalancing hormones. And what that means is, again, back to homeostasis, your body's trying to create equilibrium in your body. So a counterbalancing hormone, for an example, like testosterone and estrogen. When one's high, the other's low, vice versa kind of deal. So when growth hormone is high, or let's say when insulin is low, growth hormone is high. Right. So when you take this exogenous growth hormone, your endogenous production of insulin shuts down. And when that happens, then your blood sugar starts to raise. So usually what people see, even off 2 units, they might take 2 units, their blood sugar might go and increase, but it's only for a temporary period of time. Now, over time in doing this, over years and years, if you're taking a higher amount, you start to wear down your exactly.
Okay. So, what for the bodybuilders, the guys that are taking the 4, the 6 IU, where should they start with their insulin? We'll get into protocols after, but at what point do you absolutely need some insulin because you're desensitized at the beta receptor? It's like you've either been taking it for too long or you're taking too high of a dose, and you need to counterbalance those hormones. Like you need it, or your body's going to be suffering on a few different levels. So what levels does that take place at?
If you're doing, say they were doing 2 units twice a day, it would be very hard to say. I mean, maybe a unit of insulin over a period of time. But the easiest way is to check your own blood sugar. And but if you were getting, let's say 4 or 5 unit per injection, that's when I would add insulin, and starting as low as 2, but again, checking your blood sugar to see 2 to 3 units. Now, all you're trying to do is replace your endogenous insulin levels. And when the growth hormone's high, and you have 2 things that happen. Yes, your insulin drops down, and then your insulin becomes a little less effective in your body at the receptor level. So by taking exogenous, you're almost doing an HRT for your insulin as well. You're only taking it to make up for that fact when you have a high amount of growth hormone. You're only taking it to replace your body's insulin. And at the same time, at that level of insulin, your body's still producing insulin. It doesn't shut your own natural production off at all. And that's where people kind of get a misconception. It's actually, if you were to take a lot of sugar in, it's safer to have insulin present or inject insulin than it is for your body to start producing all that insulin for that massive amount of sugar. So yeah, 5 units, 4 units, maybe start with 2 units of insulin. But again, if your blood sugar is fine, there's really no point other than you're trying to get a higher increase of insulin like growth factor or IGF.
Okay, cool. So can all of this turn you diabetic? Let's get right to the nuts of it. So like, can you get turned diabetic by using growth hormone for long periods of time or for high dosages?
I know a few examples. Actually, there was a bodybuilder who became diabetic, and I won't say the name, but a professional who became diabetic and then said magically God cured his diabetes, and because he said it was type 1, but it's very, he was in his late 30s, got type 1, and then it disappeared the next 2 years later. I know a few cases of people who have been taking anywhere between 15-20 units. One specifically who was diagnosed with diabetes. His blood sugar was somewhere in the 700s when they admitted him. And so if you were to take, say, 15-20 units, now again, he was on 3.5, 4 years or so. He was on for 4 years going up and down with dosages, but it goes to show you if you're taking 15-20 units without insulin, it took him about 3.5, 4 years or so. He was type 2 diabetic, and now he doesn't take anything else. He doesn't have to take insulin anymore because it is reversible. If you catch it early enough, it's 100% reversible. There's things like those Slim pills or metformin. You start with, up here you start, and then you slowly come down and do keto diets. Your blood sugar will come back to normal if you stop the growth, and then you can get on later.
Great. So there's no permanent damage, on the insulin response from taking growth hormone. That's all great news for everybody, I imagine. And I've had people come down for the clinic, doctors, all types of people getting crazy about their low dose growth hormone, wanting to check with the glucose monitor there and all that to make sure they're not. I'm like, guys, you're getting way too carried away. You're using this as a tool to better your quality of life. You're not going to hurt yourself. You're not going to make yourself diabetic. Yes, your blood sugar might spike a little bit after the injection, but it's going to go right back to normal, okay? So it's just because you're using an exogenous source for the growth hormone and you're trying to reap the benefits from being slightly optimized.
So just, back to that last thing is I know where we were getting prescriptions from years ago, the people who were using this, they were being prescribed in a day up to 30 units for their condition a day. So just put it that way, they've been on it for years as well. So yes, they do have a condition, but again, you're talking 2-3 units versus somebody who's been taking anywhere from 10 to 30 units every single day, minus a day because of side effects. So they're fine, they still don't have diabetes. So just, put 2 and 2 together, do your own blood work, check your blood, and you'll be okay.
Yep. So I'm going to give you some advice that somebody gave to me in the first few years of my bodybuilding. Well, not actually, but year 4 of bodybuilding when I started being able to take growth hormone all the time. If you're above 4 IU and your number one intention is to, bodybuild, you're kind of wasting your money with the growth hormone a little bit if you don't add some insulin, okay? But for all you other people that are doing it for HGH replacement therapy dosages and everything, don't worry. You don't have to monkey around with the insulin if you don't want to. So anyway, all the information of how you can obtain proper human growth hormone legally through a doctor is going to be in the description. Look forward to talking to you guys later. I hope we answered your questions about, the relationship between insulin and human growth hormone. And look forward to talking to you guys and reading your emails and everything later. Adios. Hey guys, Danny G here. This video needs a quick disclaimer. So I am not a medical professional. I am not a doctor. I am speaking strictly from my own experiences. Okay? Insulin is actually a dangerous compound. You can hurt yourself to the point of death. Okay, so please do not use insulin unless you are 100% informed and 100% aware and 100% you guys know exactly what to do with the insulin. All right, look forward to talking to you guys on the emails. You guys can get a hold of me. It would be my pleasure to help sort you guys out with the questions that you're gonna have. All right, regetamex.com. Adios.